Hello YouTube, this is William. Forgive my appearance, been in the shop since about 5:30 this morning. And so anyway, getting them knives done. Welcome to another, well, I don't know if it's an introduction or a reintroduction. This is christened the Master Woodsman Hunter model. And so we're going to talk about it and what led up to this design, and it's been probably percolating for, well, ever since I started the Master Woodsman grind. Was it 5 or 6 years ago when I started developing that multi-grind and playing around with different styles and things like that. I personally, as a hunter, I gravitated more toward a butcher style tip than say the spear point or a bushcraft style Master Woodsman. But the majority spoke and said, hey, we prefer the spear point. So I came out with the Blackbird, and since Blackie took that design and kind of made it his own, I christened it the Blackbird because as a thanks to Blackie for all of his help and all that. And so anyway, he marketed that thing very well. So, but anyway, let's talk about the Hunter model. If you've followed my videos for a long time, and I hope you guys can hear me over the fans because it's just too hot to be out here without fans. So I hope I'm speaking up loud enough to you guys to hear me. If you follow my channel for several years, you saw me process a deer that dust. It's all it is dust, folks. All right. You saw me process a deer on the Massey farm December, probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And I was testing out 2 different models, and this is one of them. This was the 01 model that I was testing out, and there's another one in 3V. This one has a different tip than any other Master Woodsman that I had made at that point. And I love this tip. I always love this tip more than any other Master Woodsman that I ever used. It has a full belly, but it has almost a straight part here, and it comes down to a flatter part here. So I always loved this knife design. This was a little weak area here, so it, you know, I did not beat a whole lot on this knife. I did use it for taunting realistically with some common sense, which is fine. But this is not a design that you want to go out there and try to split a 4-inch piece of oak with knots in it and twist it. I mean, that's just ludicrous. Why would you even want to do that? But anyway, the tip is what I always liked on this knife. When I was skinning that buck, I realized that tip is the perfect tip for skinning. And it wasn't anything new. It's kind of like a spade blade. See this this how blood stained this knife is? This is a more large trapper. It's 1095 steel. I don't know how many deer I've skinned with this knife, but I've always liked that spade style blade on it. Now more, they have good steel. Their fit and finish is not the best in the world, but their steel is good. I mean, everything they have is loose. It's hard to open. It's just not a good quality fit in the mower. And I've owned several mowers. I love their steel, but everything else is just horrible. So I don't recommend them. But anyway, that spade blade on that mower, I love that spade blade. And if you used a trapper, you know what I'm talking about. So that was the thought process when I started tweaking in and saying, hey, I'm going to put out a hunter model. What is the best attributes that I liked as a hunter that has skinned my share of game? I'm not going to say that I've skinned a whole lot, because there's probably trappers and everything else out there that skin a whole lot more than I have. But throughout my life, I've skinned my share of bucks and rabbits and squirrels and things like that. So this is the model, and this is in green Sure Touch. This one is with yellow liners. And it has a buck on it with a 1 saying that this is the first run. I'm going to get it in the light a little bit. Saying that this is the first run. Now these knives are available to pre-order now at greatnorthernknives.com, and I'll put a link below in the description box. contact them, and they've got a list going. They're only sold through Great Northern Knives. Okay, this first run is only sold through Great Northern Knives, and you can select on there what you want, give you a preference of what handle material you want. You have a choice of a limited number of Sure Touch that he's pre-ordered. Of course, there's black, green, and natural canvas micarta. All will come with 1/4-inch brass pins. There is a select few, like a handful, that will have liners. Okay, so you need to contact them now because they will not last long, folks. There's only 30 of them, so they will not last long. You've seen how the Blackbirds went. I expect these to go just as quickly. So you need to contact GreatNorthernKnives.com right now and get on the list. Okay? So, but anyway, just kind of give you a comparison of doing the Blackbird and it side by side. They're about the same length. The Blackbird is just a little bit shorter. This Hunter model is it's about a 5.5-inch cutting blade. The width on it, if you can put these over, is, when you find the camera here, it's a little bit wider, maybe an eighth, if that, than the Blackbird. Has more of a butcher belly than the Blackbird. Of course, it has a more pronounced sweet spot. This right here is kind of an angled Scandi. It's not straight across. I wanted more beef in this area because this is only 1/8 of an inch thick AEBL steel. I wanted a thinner blade because it's a butcher knife. Its primary function is butchering, kitchen prep, slicing, dicing, that type of thing, because it has a flat part here to do those kitchen chores and things like that. Okay, and the blade drops down to where your hand is not in the way in all of those tasks, and also has the butcher style tip where it picks your hand up out of the way. Okay, so you can run up those legs and everything else. It has a little hook there to ring in those legs and all that good stuff, and also curves and angles assist you when you're doing feathers. So if you're doing feathers, no matter which way you're pulling or pushing, you're coming up against an edge, because that edge it's got a little angle here, and it's got another angle this way, slight angle. Okay, so if you're doing feathers, that assists you in doing feathers as well. It's easier to do feathers. I think that this is the perfect belt knife, Woodsman's belt knife, a hunter's belt knife that does camping and things like that. So a camp slash hunting model is pretty much what I was going for on this. Handles is I mean, a good handle that fits your hand, something you can hold on to in those sticky situations. And when you're inside the cavity of that animal, I mean, that's the worst thing in the world, is have a small handle that you can't feel in there. That's a dangerous thing. But this one is big enough to get in there and take care of all that. So again, do this comparison on the Blackbird model versus the Hunter model below. Okay, and of course in the back it's got the Made in Texas stamp with the E in Texas saying that it's AEBL. Okay, and just to kind of give you an idea, this is the one in blue Sure Touch, has an orange liner. So anyway, and I've got another one here just for, these are going to Great Northern in their package this week. So if you want one of these, good luck. They may be contact them very quickly on this. Okay, and if you guys want to see a comparison, I know somebody's going to compare it to the Saner Scout, which is probably the closest one that to this. Here's a Saner Scout. The handle on the Saner is a little bit smaller than the Saner was designed for a smaller hand, because it was a Trinity is the one that named this. She named it the Saner after her family, after I encouraged her to do that. I thought Saner Scout was probably the best name. But anyway, has a smaller handle for smaller hands. Blade is 5/32, whereas this is an 1/8 inch, so it's a thinner blade. The Saner has a little bit more belly. The tip is a little bit different. This one has more of a spay style point, whether this one is almost like a drop point on the Saner Scout. So I mean, there's some similarities, but also some differences as well. Okay, and the blade length, the Hunter has a little bit longer blade, probably about an inch, a little over an inch longer. Okay, so there you go. I hope you guys answered your questions on this Hunter model. This when I was doing the R&D on the Master Woodsman, that was always the style that I had in mind, because me being a Hunter Woodsman type person, that was what would appeal to me most, is a Hunter style butcher tip. Okay, so anyway, after a lot of people said what's happening to Model 2, well, this is what Model 2 became. Model 2 is gone. Now this is the Hunter model with the clip, the spay style, modified spay, I guess we call it, tip, and it's just a phenomenal little belt knife, or I say little, 6-inch butcher knife is what it's based off of. So anyway, gotta have one. If you're a hunter and do camping or kitchen prep, stuff like that, or even grill steaks in the backyard, you gotta have you one of these models. Batoning, it's 1/8-inch steel. I mean, if you're gonna do it with kindling, things like that, then yeah, have at it. But don't be trying to split logs with it. I mean, you shouldn't be doing that with any knife. But yeah, if you do some light kindling, stuff like that, light batoning, no problems at all. Okay. All right, I appreciate you guys' support, all your views, your likes, your subscriptions, and until the next one, you guys get in the backyard, whittle on a stick. Be sure to take a child with you, get the opportunity, and don't forget those plenty of band-aids and lots of knives. Catch you again soon. Don't forget, Great Northern Knives. Get your name in. Talk to you later.